Hey there, traders. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group with your end of day recap video for Tuesday. It kind of feels like a Wednesday, but it's a Tuesday. And another day and new highs for the indices. S&P up 40 basis points. Q's up just about the same. They're up 35 basis points. And IWM small caps right up there with them too, up about 35 basis points. So, markets shook off a little bit of early weakness. There was a little bit of jitters this morning around Janet Yellen's comments this morning, and it's kind of the same type of language that she's been saying all along. So not much really going on, or not much of a change. It still seems like they're talking about between 2 to 3 interest rate increases for the year of 2017. Prior to her speaking, the probability of a rate hike was only 30%. So it moved up 4%. So, I was talking about this pre-market, saying that the market is really not expecting the three rate increases, and where are they going to come if they're not going to price them in for March? Even when you go out to June, it's still only a 73%. So it's really going to be tough as far as what the market is expecting for three rate increases. So something has to give. Either they're only going to do two, they're going to do three, all at the end of the year, or June and thereafter, or the market is wrong and there's going to be one in March and the market's not going to be expecting it, which is, you could see, it's only again moved from 30%, but only to 34%. So that gets me a little bit of an uneasy feeling, considering what the market is just shaking all of this off. If Fed fund futures are wrong and she comes out, maybe she is testifying again tomorrow as well. So another meeting. If she says something else tomorrow that's going to be out of the ordinary, maybe you see a little bit more volatility. But she really hasn't veered from the course too much in terms of saying that the market expectations are this and this is what we're going to get. So we did get an uptick, by the way, in inflation today. This is 0.6% for PPI. This is the most, or the highest read of the PPI, which is one of the gauges for inflation, in a couple of years, since 2012. Tomorrow, so that's kind of interesting. That's just one of the gauges for inflation. CPI is tomorrow. We're expecting zero point 0.3, and we're also getting retail sales in tomorrow as well. So a couple different data points. We'll see what we get for tomorrow. Just looking at before I go and talk about individual names, the RSIs right now are really cooking right now on these major indices. We're definitely in overbought territory. On the S&P, it's a 75 RSI. If you go over to the Qs, they've just been moving on a 45-degree angle up and to the right, and the RSI right now is an 80. So very, very overbought, I would say. This is more than we were back here. You look at the RSI indicator down here. Anytime the indices get a little bit over, deep into 70 territory, I get a little apprehensive about the market. I did this here. I sold call spreads in the Qs. Last time it worked well. This time it's not working out. We are going really into overbought territory. So the market, the more and more overbought you get, the more and more the market is priced for perfection, which is great as long as there's all good news. But you get a little bit of bad news, and this market's going to come down pretty quickly, in my opinion. So I'm continuing to trade and kind of go substitute positions, take profits in names, and maybe put a position on here or there. But I'm doing a lot more day trading. Caught a really nice winner today in the trading room right in the beginning of the day, and I unwound about 85% of it. This was CERN. This is Cerner. This is a name that had earnings the other day, and real nice move today. It was up 4% today. Aclera was another name that I put on yesterday. Unfortunately, just did not put on huge size in this one. OCLR. I always get this confused with the symbol with Oracle. But this name was up close to 10% on the day. Just a humongous trade. This was yesterday's activity that we saw this one. And I think one of the only swing trades that I put on. This was a monster order and the April 10 calls. So that's the beauty of this market. If we're opening, and I've said this in the last couple videos that I've shot, is that the market's really giving you a great opportunity to day trade and to not carry a lot of risk overnight, because most of these moves were opening up around flat and were either trending. And again, this is this is a really good thing. This is not something that we've seen in years past. So the ability to not have to carry that risk overnight and day trade and scalp a little bit, and then a couple names or a few names that we're seeing very aggressive call activity. Aclera was one that I put on yesterday, took off for, what did I get into this thing for? 93 cents? Let me just see here. Let me just see if I can find the trades here. Aclera was into this trade for 90 cents and then took this trade off for around $1.45 today. So I'm still holding a small piece of this, just like I am for CERN. So that's basically it. I didn't look at small caps. Small caps are not overbought, I don't believe. So if you want to be in one particular area, you go back to the RSI, not at a 70, only at a 61 right now. So really strong, and I like the pattern a little bit more in IWM. Breaking out here. So what else did Yellen affect today? Well, interest rates really rose today. The bonds sold off. They did come back today. You could see the move right around the comments, right around the 10 o'clock comments, and these things dove pretty hard. Gold did the same thing, but gold already was up on the day about 60, 70 basis points. It sold off and it did come back. And bonds, if you go back to the bonds chart, they did come back at the end of the day as well and kind of cut those losses in half. The dollar was also strong. Dollar was up about 30, 35 basis points. That came in a little bit. It kind of reverted. Everything kind of reverted back to the mean. So the main thing that really happened with interest rates that was affected was the banks. Goldman, real nice strong day, and Goldman. I remained long Goldman. It is now breaking out, so up to 250. Real nice move in Goldman. Citigroup, we continue to see all kinds of call buying. It is got a little bit before it gets resistance to the top of value. So 61.15. They just keep going after Citigroup left and right. Just a lot of calls swept today, going all the way out to January of 2018. So big chunky orders in Citigroup. JP Morgan, we're also seeing a little bit of buying, and BAC, just repetitive call buying. Look at this chart in BAC of 2.8% and just popped out of the sideways range as well. It really hasn't been moving too much. Like, so you go back to the city chart, and City really came down quite a bit. Oops, that's not the right chart. Yeah, I was like, that didn't look right. City really came in from the highs quite a bit, so gave you a nice opportunity to add longs into City. Same thing with a couple other banks, but I think Citi was one of the biggest severe moves down from where it was in towards the end of December, the beginning of January. Other than that, biotech was a huge move as well today. There was rumors on Bristol Myers. You could see what Bristol Myers did today. Repeat call buying in this one today. I unfortunately missed this one. I was giving the live session and I was like, oh, there's Bristol Myers calls and there's more Bristol Myers calls. I think there was a Business Insider article out talking about that they've been in discussions. So there's rumors about them possibly being in discussions about being taken over. So you could see what a move from 52.5 to 54. A couple of the Tribeca traders subscribers caught this move today. So really nice job picking up on the article, and then the repeat call buying activity that I was showing left and right. I just did not pull the trigger on Bristol Myers. The whole healthcare space, a lot of small caps did very well today. Look at the ACAD up 6%. There was a really nice IBB order. This was a nice chunky order in the biotech ETF. The block that originally went up was the March 300 calls for 260. Again, this is no small order. This is over $1 million in premium, which I really like. I've been talking about XBI for a while now, but real nice outperformance today for IBB. I've been playing XBI. The options are a little bit easier to trade, and you can see my downward trend line. And you can see a break out of this, really nice. Also a break outside of the red line, the top of value on the daily chart. So this is continuing to go up here. What else do you notice on this chart? The 200-day moving average. Since we kind of hit that level, we've been moving up here. And if we continue to get outside of this range, notice that purple line up here. That's a VPOC. That could be where we might be headed. That's where we got back in September installed out. So I think we could at least get back to 69.25, and I think that would be a good place to take some profits if you're long XBI or some biotech names. There was just a ton of flurry of names, just various different names that were interesting today. Under Armour, they came in a couple times. So a couple dip names that we saw some dip buying in. Under Armour was up 4% today. A couple times we saw call buying in that name this morning. I talked about the CERN. For solar, I talked about Citigroup. Honeywell, which is broken out. We saw a couple buying call buyers coming in the morning, and then we did see a put buyer as well. So this name really didn't break out today. I thought it looked interesting, but maybe if we saw call buying here, it would be a little bit more interesting. It's pretty overbought. You look at the RSI, and it's 80, so I didn't touch that one. CCJ, we saw repeat call buying in this particular name. The uranium group seems to be pretty hot again. This name was up 5%. So here's where it made some highs. Notice it's trying to get back up there again. That was in the beginning of the day. A couple other signals, JD.com, a lot of call buying in this one. A couple big blocks. This is a name that we've talked about before. It's above the 200-day moving average now, very nicely, and just jumped out from these two levels here. It looks like not all the way above this level yet, but this is a name to keep an eye on. These were the March 32 calls that they went after. FIG, another name. I am long this name in cash, not in options, but this one is we've been seeing call buying in for the last couple months, and it's just been continuous. It seems like every couple of days more call buying comes in, and it's very aggressive. You could see it's repeat March 40 calls. They're being swept. They're going above the ask, and they're buying them. So very aggressive. Again, and again. This is just today alone. So when you add up the whole quantity for the day, you're getting about 8,000 of the March 6 calls. So this name has definitely broken out of its sideways range of about $5.40, and now up 620. So I remain long this name, and I'm looking for maybe a move to this purple line, this VPOC up here, maybe 711. That seems like a good place to take some profits. And then a couple other names down here in the afternoon. As we get down to these are mostly afternoon names. Twilio, I actually put on a call spread in this name. So even though this market's a bit overbought, I'm still finding some interest, in single names that have gotten a little bit beaten up. I like Twilio because they just had earnings. The earnings were pretty good, and this is a name that's gone from $70 down to it's about half that, 35. It's above the shorter dated moving averages here, and I'm looking for a move, maybe all the way to 45. That's a big VPOC up here. But if we continue to move outside of range and outside of on top of value, I think it's interesting, especially when we're seeing the aggressive call buying. So those were the April 33s. Again, this was not I don't think this was a cheap order either. This 800 block, that's 265,000 in premium. So definitely not a cheapy play. That's $3.30. So that's an expensive play. Palo Alto, there was a big order in this one as well. Palo Alto has been on a really nice run. Again, not a cheap play in this one as well. There was open interest. I'll have to check open interest tomorrow. But March 150 calls went up for 1120. Then we saw a little bit of casino buying, short dated. Could be that there's some Macau numbers that's out. I think actually MGM reports coming up. But those were pretty aggressive calls that went up in MGM as well. They do report this week, 216. And then two other trades that I'll just kind of gloss over. Halo, I did take a piece of these as well today, so I am participating in names, even though I think the indices are overbought. These were pretty also aggressive calls that went up for March 14th. Short dated play. This is a very high speculative name. This is a small cap biotech name. But I like the way that they went up. And for 32 cents, you know, my stop will probably be down at 20 cents on this thing, but took a small position in this one. What else? Then there was just one other trade that kind of slipped in at the end of the game. This is another name that we've been seeing repeat call buying, especially post earnings. This is Weyerhaeuser, WY. I think on Friday we saw some calls being bought. The name actually slipped down a little bit today. So real nice performance after earnings. And it was up quite a bit yesterday, down one. So inside day today, down 1.5% today, and it did take out a VPOC yesterday, version point of control. But you take a look, it's got some open road to $36. So those were the April 35 calls that were bought for 50 cents. So that may be something that I focus on tomorrow. So that's it for tonight's recap. Again, a lot of activity. Especially post when Yellen spoke, you could see a lot of call buying. There was some interesting put orders as well here. I did not take any of these, but I do like the IBB order as well. So that's it for today's recap. Have a great night. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you.